Welcome to the Hot Mess Cosmic Express, where we talk about the stars, shuffle a few cards, and never pretend to have our shit together. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Hot Mess Cosmic Express. I'm Darcy Britt, and this is my wonderful co-host.
I'm Tracy Gardner.
And we are really glad that you guys are here today. We are trying to be super informal, but I wanted to at least have like a little blurb at the beginning. Yeah, actually, when Tracy hit record, I was scratching off lottery tickets because what girl does not want to fucking win the lottery and not
So
have to
did
go
you
to
win?
work every day? Well, I'm not going to let, I'll have to. Here's the thing, there's 5 and I only scratched 1 off. So
Gotcha.
I could be sitting, we could finish this podcast and I could be sitting on, and these are high voltage doublers, Tracy, just so you know, I could win up to $7,000. And just so you know, my odds of winning are 4.22. So let's hope in this stack of 5, a girl spots some money,
It'll
right?
pay for your basement.
It would help pay for my basement, I know, right? And we're always talking about like trying to attract abundance and manifesting and things like that. Or I say we always are because I try to, but I'll be honest, it's been a minute. And so, little things like that. It's like, all right, you gotta manifest me some money. I need some money. Just kind of get together because we had some really great conversations and like feedback and stuff in our Facebook group and on Spotify. So thank you to everybody, by the way, who went over to Spotify and gave us a 5-star rating. That was awesome.
Please continue to do so.
Yes, please do. We're trying to do like I did a poll. We did like polls with the last 2 episodes. So if you head over there, I'm not really sure where to find them, but I know they're there somewhere because we did have people that responded. So if you would just head over there, give us a 5-star rating, leave a comment about how much you love the Hot Mess Cosmic Express. We would appreciate that. But we had a lot of people. We kind of kicked things off a few weeks ago or a week and a half ago with Mercury Retrograde. And it's a nightmare for me. And I keep posting all the fun little quirks and electrical things that happen in my life with Mercury retrograde. And I know it ends. It's a little controversial. So, but I know it's ending soon. And I thought, well, who best to talk to about the fact that Mercury retrograde is, thank the dear Lord, just about over, than one of my BFFs in the astro world and my co-commander. But Trace,
It's been kicking my ass.
is it getting you too? Because it is
Yes.
messing me up. What's
I
it
was
doing to you?
actually texting with Donita earlier because she had texted me and I'm like, I don't want to move off the couch. I just want to the last 2 days I've just kind of be like, well, we were supposed to record Tuesday and I'm just like, I'm exhausted.
Yep.
I don't want I'm just all I want to do is just lay around and be lazy.
Just feel like
Just
drained.
yes, like
And
everything I
then,
do.
well, and
I'm
then you
so
get to those
glad.
points where the weather, you start thinking, okay, the weather's changing. And, so something to think about because I'm not necessarily that way, but I've been a little extra tired lately, right? Like last night, excuse me, I was ready to come home and like crash. But that big planetary alignment, now we're recording this, I think, right before it happens, I think, but that
Yeah,
planetary
because
alignment
today's
is happening.
Thursday, August 7th, and it happens Sunday.
Right. So something to think about is what we're feeling, right? When we talk about, we know the moon affects things, right? The moon's gravitational pull. I don't know about the rest of all of that, but maybe there are some things to think about when you see these kind of planetary alignments. If you're feeling tired like that, what's your chart look like, right? I didn't really think
That's
about it that
actually
way.
a good. I have not pulled my chart to see. That's a good point. Plus, you also have shadow periods when something big goes on. So like full moon, takes you have 3 days before and 3 days after.
Right. Or you
You know,
start to feel that. Yes.
right. And I bet it's same with other planets as well, as far as when something big is moving, you probably feel it a couple days before and a couple days after. It's not like it just automatically hits and then that's
Right.
it. It's you have some time before and some time after. So yeah, we probably are feeling the beginning of that alignment where all these planets are moving and shifting to get in alignment with each
And
other.
it's
That
beautiful.
would make
I
sense.
happen to look at it, and it's really is pretty. It's just really neat to think you can look at it on the chart, and then I can walk outside in my backyard and look up and be like, holy shit, there it is. Like I know what all the planets are because I can see them. I've looked at them on like astro or whatever, and I'm
So
like,
you
oh,
know
there's
what
the moon. Yeah, and I can sit there, I'm like, "Oh," I'm like, "I know exactly where they're at," but yeah, I mean, and plus you're better at transits and things like that than I am. I'm kind of learning, I focus so much on the moon and just your rising and your sun sign and your birth chart, but I'm sure transit wise, it's got to have some sort of an effect. Definitely, if
yeah,
they're all
oh,
lining up.
definitely.
Yeah, it's a powerhouse that's there. But yeah, as far as the Mercury retrograde goes, and I joke about it. It's funny because when you manifest things, you're like, okay, like attracts like, right? So I sometimes wonder, am I bitching about Mercury retrograde so that it's just coming back at me
It
again
keeps
and again
happening. Things keep
and it
going.
keeps happening? Yeah, but like for example, I ran out of gas for the first time in my life, right? And my gas gauge still showed a quarter tank of gas. So then I go and I fill up and it shows I have 613 miles,
I saw that post.
and I didn't I went ahead and filled up today, but according to my gauge, I was at a quarter of a tank and I still had 183 miles left. And I'm like, that's really great mileage." But so anyway, I'm really, really ready. I mean, Mercury retrograde, it seems to affect others, I think, more than I should say some more than others, I guess is a better way to say it. Some people I don't think
Well, just
even
look at it this way. Look at all the content that you got to post and help promote the hot mess at Cosmic Express. There's always a positive.
I like that positive spin on it. You're right. Because and we realized that and I think it wasn't just promoting, but I think it kind of struck with people too that that there are other people out there that have the same problem. Now, I'll pose this question to you and the rest of the listening audience, but I have heard tale that those who were born under Mercury retrograde do not necessarily feel the effects as much as those of us who were not born under Mercury retrograde. How do you feel about that?
I have heard something similar to that, but I have never, I
Are
don't know
you a
if
retrograde baby?
I don't know. Let me.
Boys and girls at home, this is the thing. This is why we say your birth chart's your boarding pass, right? And Tracy, I did the same. I don't even have my chart pulled. I don't. How bad is that? Okay, I'm gonna have to print it out and pull it. I don't have my. Can you? Do I get to go to the bad girls' room if I don't have? I don't think I'm born under Mercury retrograde. You're 2 weeks. You're born 2 weeks after me.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, I'm not looking at Astro Seek. I'm actually looking at Astro Gold. It's an app that I have, but it doesn't show that it
I'm
doesn't
looking here.
show it on my chart. So I don't
Mine
know if they
showed.
just don't show the retrogrades or
It was. It looks like.
I
Okay,
thought
hang
that
on
there
here. I'm
was
going to tell
one
you what was in
chart.
retrograde here. It looks like it was Jupiter. Jupiter was in retrograde. Hmm. That's something to unpack. And it was probably in retrograde for most of the people born around the time that we were born because Jupiter is one of those outer planets that was like a generational planet. Like,
Right. So early 70s.
yeah, it doesn't move that fast.
I
But
don't
yeah,
know how long. I can't remember how long it takes to move, but yeah, probably like I would say probably 70 to 74 or something like that. Because you're born 73, right?
yeah, I was born in
Yep.
73. Yeah.
2 weeks before me, duh.
She said, duh, duh, gag me
Duh.
with a spoon, Tracy. OMG. Yeah, I'm
Hey,
looking, and now
the
according
80s
to
were
with
great.
my chart, the only now granted there you could still have retrogrades in your chart because planets can change that quickly, but it looks like it's just Jupiter retrograde. But that does bring to light something when we talk about the planets lining up, and then and the energy that goes with that and kind of leading up to it. That's that term, the astrological term that I didn't realize, but when people talk about stationing, so
Oh, yeah.
before a planet, and correct me if I'm wrong, but what I understand it is that is before a planet goes retrograde or when it's getting ready to go from retrograde to turn direct. That's the
Right.
phrase. right? It's considered stationing, which means it's kind of like getting to the point where it's gonna either be retrograde or direct. And that usually it just depends on how fast that planet turns. Like I looked it up and Mercury, it only stations for 1 day, literally 24 hours.
Wow. So yeah, and then it goes direct. So it
It does.
stations on the 10th and then goes direct on August 11th. So
Yeah,
Monday, everybody can do a
exactly.
little happy dance.
I'm going to do a very big happy dance. But one thing I thought would be fun, not fun, but just educational wise. And I actually learned, right? Because this, when we talk about Hot Mess Cosmic Express, we're kind of trying to figure this all out with the stars too, right? So I
Right.
wanted to dive a little bit deeper into exactly what retrograde is because it's, we talk about going backwards and astrologically when a planet goes retrograde, we talk about its meaning as kind of like the opposite or like reflection kind of back on those same qualities. But, to answer that question of does it really stop and turn backwards in the sky, right? Does that planet really do that, right? So because that is a question that people ask. So I don't know if you want to talk about it a little bit, like what
I
do
can
you know
talk
about
about
it?
it. It's a good subject to talk about because it does, multiple planets go in retrograde throughout the years. Because astrology is becoming more popular, we're hearing about it, but this has always gone on. Mercury goes retrograde like twice a year. I used to have it all written down, but like Venus goes like every like 18 months. So I mean,
Yep.
there's always seems to always be a planet going or coming out of retrograde. But
Right.
retrograde actually just um, it's an optical illusion. The planet is slowing down, but from our view, it looks like it's going backwards.
Got it. So it's based on because all of the planets in the solar system, including the Earth, we're all orbiting around the sun at different speeds, right?
Right,
And so when we look, it's all like you said, it's an optical illusion based on our perception and view in the sky. And what's
right,
really cool, because I really didn't think about this when I thought, okay, well, it appears to go backwards. Well, literally, if you walk outside and you look at Mercury and you can find it, or even if let's say it's Mars, right? We can typically see Mars or Venus.
right,
You if you look up and I see that Venus is in the sky here and the moon is here, as Venus goes into retrograde, instead of continuing along with the moon, it literally appears from our vantage point to start separating away from the moon. That
right.
is, I did not even
Yeah,
put two and two together, like mind like blown. And I'm like, you because I wrote it down. I wrote down optical illusion created by the position and speed of the earth and Mercury as it orbits the sun. But that is just amazing because that's really what it is from our perspective here on earth based on how fast everything's moving it instead of appearing to keep going forward it starts to go back. That's just so cool.
and it's
And
because
so I'm
everything
going to go
else
watch
is
it.
keeping speed, but it's slowing down. So instead of it going this way, it's going, it's still moving forward, but everything else is still at that fast speed. So it looks like it's going backwards. So yeah,
Yes, and I really just thought it was okay if I could see the planet, with my eye. If I could see the planet, it would look like that. There's where it would look like it was turning backwards.
I got you. So the rotation would look like
Yes,
it was.
until till tonight, I did not realize that that's really what it meant. That if I looked up in the sky, it would. My mind's blown. I'm gonna have to I'm gonna watch this like a hawk. This is gonna be really cool. I'm gonna totally geek out about this. I am because I'm all about, I think that's the thing about all of this. I'm all about being out there and looking at the stars, and I've got all the sky apps, and we talked about getting telescopes out and things like that, and which I love my telescope. I really do, but I don't set it up very much because it's really hard to do. There's a lot of math involved. I can't do.
It can be, unless you have one of the ones that are like, they're usually more expensive, where, you know, you can't always just set it up and like, you have to have the right conditions, you
Well,
have to
and
be
then
looking in the right area.
like somewhere around here I've got the instruction manual, but it has something to do with like figuring out the equatorial line and where you're at. And then you have to figure out because you're actually kind of pinpointing, you're kind of creating this zodiac in the sky to an extent, you're so that you can find things. I can't do all of that. Plus, usually it's really late when I get a hair up my ass and decide to pull it out of the closet and it's in like eight different pieces.
trying to put it together.
Yeah, and so while I'm out there under the moonlight, doing it, granted, mind you, I said under the moonlight. This is the mistake I've made the 3 times I've gotten it out because I wanna look at the full moon. So then guess who's going blind because I can't do that, I'm looking in this hole and I'm trying to find, and you would think that it's a big moon, it's right there in the sky, but when you are looking at it through that telescope, I swear to God, it's the hardest damn thing to find.
Yes,
But then once you find it, it is so amazing, but it's blinding. Like we did it twice under a full moon, and then the next time I think it was a quarter moon of doing it. But it takes so long because I don't know how to do the coordinates, and then if I accidentally bump the telescope.
and trying to get it back. Yeah,
Yeah, it's not that easy. But I do really love it. Kenny got it for me. I think maybe for our 10th wedding anniversary, but I've just not taken the time to do that yet. But I am going to kind of do that. So Mercury, I did look, we talked about that for a second. That Mercury, it takes about a day for it to station. One of the things I've seen, and it's a little controversial, I'll be honest, is that, I've seen, according to like Farmer's Almanac and a few other places, that Mercury retrograde ends on August the 10th. But we've had some really great crew members who have pointed out that in some places it ends on August 11th. So Tracy and I started really to dig into it because that's confusing and we want to get it right. And this is what we talked about, I think, on I don't know if it was on one of our other episodes that we've published yet, but we talked about how things are always different, right? And like
right.
you have to kind of do it on your own and figure it out. But I did go back and look, and Mercury is in retrograde and does not start to station, so start to appear like she's going to start moving forward again until August the 10th at 15:28, so 3:28 in the afternoon. She goes fully direct all the way back, coming back around the mountain on August the 11th at 15:28, so at 3:28 p.m. Seems like some sites or experts consider the time when we start stationing to be the end of Mercury retrograde. But if you really want to be technical about it,
It's the
you
11th.
it's the 11th. Yeah, the 11th at 3:28 p.m. So mark your calendars, folks. That's when we'll do the happy dance. Now, if you're putting your calendar reminder in your phone, chances are it won't go off. Talking about Mercury retrograde here. Yeah, so that is going to end. And Mercury's still in Leo, I believe. So, when Mercury is all about, the planet of the mind and thinking and communications, and when it's in retrograde, we get that opportunity to kind of rethink how we're approaching stuff in that area. And so
Right.
being in Leo, that's like, how are you? So now that it's going to turn and be direct again in Leo, it's like, all right, so now get moving again and start thinking about how to step out of your comfort zone, how to, have pride in what you've done, but still take some
Bold in
criticism.
your expression, your communication, be passionate, embrace your creativity, center stage in communication. That's what I had written down. And vivid language. Like
Yeah.
that's what
It's funny. I do believe total pop culture reference, but, when we talk about Leo, you can even think of Leo's like big hair, right?
yeah.
I believe when you said, spotlight, Leos are, I mean, it's ruled by the sun, so they're meant to shine. And I'm pretty sure a few of the Kardashians are Leos, so if you kind of think about how they're
Yes.
out there, it's so I always, for some reason, when I think of embrace my inner Leo, I really don't know why, but it is a, sorry, it's a picture of Kim Kardashian that pops in my head. Gotta do what you gotta do to be like, I gotta rock it, right? That's my Leo thing. So that's a
That's
really
actually
good
funny
chance.
that you said the hair because that is one of the characteristics that people say that if you're a Leo sun, you usually have big hair.
Really? I didn't know. Okay, so that's interesting because the only other thing, no, I've heard 2 things. I've heard that Taurus sun are typically a little shorter and stout, like as far as physical appearance, right? So again, we're, astrology and physical appearance. I don't know how much weight it all holds, but
Right.
it's interesting because I did marry 2 Taurus people, not at the same time and not on purpose. And they were both shorter and stout. And then I think it's Aquarius. Aquarius, usually they stand out. I think it's Aquarius. stands out in some way when they walk into a room. I thought, like, I don't think it's Sagittarius, like that has weird hair. Like,
Sagittarius usually, I've always heard Sagittarius have like the thighs and the butt because you have to, because Sagittarius is, you know, part horse. So I've always heard that they have like the, I could definitely be, if I wasn't so short, I could be a Sagittarius with my big old butt. And Steve refers to it as the whole ghetto.
the whole get. You got the junk in the trunk. That's what it
I definitely
is.
have junk in the trunk.
But that's where that it comes from then is because of the archer, and it's the like the Minotaur half, or
Yeah.
not Minotaur, but yeah, half. Wow, okay.
So they usually have the thicker thighs and butt. But does Virgo have anything? I've never heard.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. Maybe somebody has to help us. I don't know Virgo because I don't know it. I don't really know any other ones. I hadn't heard of Sagittarius. I just know I like for Sagittarius. I usually have something on my clothing somewhere. Like if you can't see it, trust me, there's something somewhere on my body that has some sort of a message in it. Like it's like I need what's on my body to like reflect what's in here and what's in here, right? So like a lot I have astrology socks that I like to wear. I also have like day of the week panties that are sometimes, and I do only wear
We
them
need to
on
dig
their
into this.
specific.
We need to dig into this because I'm wondering if it isn't so much because I'm a Sagittarius rising too, and I don't necessarily have to have a message. But you've talked before about how you have this deep need to like get a message out there. So I wonder if that, like, I'd like to find out where that comes in, like what placement. I'm
That's
gonna
interesting. Well, I know third house is all about communication, and Aquarius is in my third house. But so Aquarius, humanitarian, big things, right? Looking at global scales of big things for communication. And then I have Jupiter in retrograde, but which is makes sense because I repeat myself. But yeah, I don't know. That is maybe that's got to be somewhere. Maybe somebody out there in podcast land can try to help me understand how my chart, because I really do. I like to. I'm always communicating. It has to be. I don't know. It's fucked up. It's really fucked up. Like
wonder if
everything that
because
comes in my mind, I'm like, I need to communicate that to and I yeah, close.
we'll have to dig
So
into that and see if we
yeah,
can figure out what that is. Maybe as we go through more of the chart, we'll figure it out.
because I thought it was maybe just Sagittarius rising. I thought it was just that part of it, but maybe it's something. Maybe it's a different combo. I like the okay. All right, we're gonna have to dig deeper into that, but back to what we were talking about before, we were not born, as far as we know, under Mercury retrograde, and it sucks. But the good news is it ends in, I should do a Mercury retrograde countdown. It really affects me. It does. My car has gremlins like you would not believe. And I laugh, but the struggle is real. So that now, just so everybody at home also understands, and we'll throw these dates out there, check local listings. But the next round, because we actually get 3 rounds of Mercury retrograde this year, boys and girls, will hit us, according to my sources, November 9th through the 29th. Kicks off in Sagittarius and ends in Scorpio. Is that what you show? Folks at home, pull up your calendars.
I'm so sorry. Steve was texting me. Can you repeat that?
See, look, we are so bad. It's okay. No, you're all right.
I was trying to do it covertly and I couldn't concentrate because he's telling me he's on his way home. I'm like, bring me some food.
But hey, listen, I totally get it because when dinner is involved, you've got to do it. I totally get it. But check your book. You've got that book you love so
Yes,
much. When is the next round of what do you get for dinner?
the next round for
I wanted
retrograde.
to know what you were getting for dinner, but okay, yeah. What's
I don't know. I told him to surprise me because he's down in Bloomington, so I
see,
don't
Kenny won't
know.
do that. Kenny is all about McDonald's or Arby's. That's my only option. That's what I'll get, and it scares him just trying to surprise me because he says I'm too picky.
I am so like I will try different things, but if I find something I like he knows what I like at each thing and can pretty much he surprises me all the time with like little like
Perfect.
he'll come home like my Heath Blizzard from Dairy Queen or my Cherry Garcia from Ben and Jerry's. He knows all that. He can remember it all. Now I can't do the same for him because he constantly is doing new stuff. So
Right. Well, he's a
I don't know
foodie,
if I
so
could
he's got to try all kinds of new things, right?
exactly.
So that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Okay, so now I'm hungry. It's okay.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. No, Kenny made dinner tonight. He made a really good like pizza roll up things. I don't know. He actually made some sort of cute little dinner, so it was really good. But so the next round of Mercury retrograde, this year we get three. I know you had mentioned we get it 2 times a year. This time because and going back to the folks who are listening at home, if anybody's hung on this long, um the beginning of the year, all the astrologers were saying like this is going to be a nuts year, right? And I didn't really get it at the time. Again, I was more focused on the moon, and I'm like, not so crazy for the moon because she keeps going like clockwork, just right around, like. But the more we've gotten into it, and then like just this, we're getting 3 rounds of Mercury retrograde this year. It's like, holy macaroni. So do you see that too? That is it three? Is it you have November 9th through the 29th is what I show. We're going to get a
Yep.
second and a third round. So,
Yeah. Because we had one earlier
yep,
in the
in
year.
March. In March. Yes, I remember because I had car issues.
That's
I
right.
did.
I forget. It is
Well,
always
cannot I just don't, it's the funniest thing, and there is a phenomenon called slider, right? And it's a psychic gift, it's an energetic gift, right? But people are like that a lot where they can't, like they'll, if you're driving and a light shuts off, or like my husband, I can't let him drive my car because the check engine light will always come on. He lights go off all the time, and that's called a slider. But it's a little different from Mercury retrograde. Like this is just a Mercury retrograde fluffle for me. I don't know. I'm making these crazy faces because I don't even know what to say. It does. It gets me every single time. It is hilarious. So yes. But like you said, I get a lot of good content and a lot of funny shit to share with everybody so they can all, validate that my life is a hot mess cosmic express. It really is. It is. It is. So Mercury retrograde is ending and we get another round. And then the other thing I wanted to chat about was Mars, the fiery red. Look, I'm wearing all my red. Fiery red planet of Mars. She moves. I say she, it's a he. Sorry. I give everything a she for some reason, but Mars moves zodiac signs about every 2 months. And as of today, when we're recording, so we're recording Thursday, August 7th, that big old handsome guy is moving into the beautiful sign of Libra.
before we get too far into it, I just have to tell you this because it was funny. Me and Steve were watching it's the quiz show with the big balls. They ask questions, and if you get it wrong,
It's
they
called the
hit you
wall.
and
The
you
wall.
go
The
into the
wall.
water. Not the wall, because the wall is the balls come down. These are the big giant balls, and they'll ask you a question, and you have to line up of like what you think is the correct answer. And they release these huge giant balls. I can't think of what it's called, but they release them, and if you get it wrong, the ball hits you and you go into the water. Well, the other day we were watching it, and the question was for they were like getting ready to win I think it was like $1 million or something like that. They just had to get this last question right, and it was about planets. And the clue was something about the the gases, the oxide of gases cause this planet to be red. And I'm yelling at the TV, Mars, Mars. And Steve's looking at me and he's like, how do you know? I'm like, because Mars is red. And the guy, he picks Mercury or something like that. So he goes into the water. He was wrong. And then they come on and say it was Mars. And I was like, see, it's red because my
See?
nickname's red. Of course I know that Mars is red.
You know,
But I just wanted to share that.
people don't think that astrology can win you money. Boys and girls, look
Exactly.
at that
I'm like,
right
I
there.
would have got that right. I would have known. I
Well,
knew it was
it's a useless
from
fact that it can win you money. That is important. That good job. See, good job. See, now everybody knows, Tracy, you are a lifeline. We'll have to
there you
lifeline you,
go.
right?
Yes.
Definitely. Because Mars is It's the planet that helps us get things done. It's really it does show
Action,
the passion. Is that what you said? Passion, yeah. Yeah.
action and passion. Yeah.
Action. Right. So when it's moving, so sorry. So he's been in Virgo, right? And so you think about it's that action, it's how we get things done, it's explosive. So it's been in Virgo, so there may be some Virgo like things that have been getting done, but now that he's
Like your
moving into
details, your like your nitty gritty, getting into like your daily routines, getting your stuff done. Now it's going to move into Libra, which is more of a balance.
okay,
So it's more about,
I'm taking notes, sorry, for my own
you're
self.
fine. I have what I wrote down was a balance between action and self care. Because Libra can be about taking care of yourself, beauty. So it can be like trying to find that balance between needing to take a break because you're worn out, you're exhausted, but also you need to get your stuff done. You need to have goals. You need to have, so it's finding that balance between not being like, well, I'm not going to do it because I don't feel good, but you could really do it. It's finding that balance of knowing when to give yourself a break, but you also need to get your shit done.
Hang on here, I'm writing this down. I love that because if you think about it, so when Mars was in Virgo, like you said, it was all about getting things done, discipline. Virgos are about to your daily to-do list. We like to be of service. When Mars and that explosive energy is in that place, you've probably been busting your ass, right? This is so crazy. Okay, here we go. I'm going to tell you this is so fucked up. I love this because today is when we finally get to take a break and things get to calm down. Do you know what else happened today?
What happened today?
Okay, so I have to tell you, this is what's crazy. This is how I tell you astrology is when we start talking about this, how crazy it is. So I work in tariffs and global, all that fun stuff, right? So my life is all about these tariffs, which nothing political, but there's numbers been being tossed out like freaking Powerball numbers, right? It's like 19, 46, 33, 23. And to try to keep up with it and keep an executive team up to date with it is a little bit, I've been running around crazy for the last 2 months. Oh my God, for the last 2 months. It's totally,
And Mars was in Virgo.
oh my God, that is awesome. That is really,
But they say astrology is not real.
but they say it's not real. I am telling you folks, this is insane. So, because today is August the 7th, and in my world, August the 7th is the day where all of the presidential proclamations and all the tariff numbers and everything that have been being thrown out over the last 7 to 14 days, they all went into effect today. So as of today, things are going to calm down. They're going to calm down because now we've got numbers assigned to countries for tariff numbers, and we've got some that we still have to get. But as far as where we're sourcing things from and my team and what they're doing, we're almost good. So I actually get to
Breathe.
get a balance between work and self care, Tracy, because Mars is moving into Libra today. It just blows my mind. I wonder if I mean, I wouldn't have realized that if we weren't having this conversation, but that just really blows my mind that it's on these days. Like Uranus and Gemini got me. And like you said, they say astrology isn't real. It blows my freaking mind. Wow. Wow. Because what I wrote down was that for Mars and Libra, same thing, kind of an emphasis on balance and harmony. But I also wrote down it was likely to bring a focus on teamwork and fairness in all your partnerships or relationships. Does that make
That's good
sense?
too. Yeah, that's good too.
But with the sweets come the sours, right? And I'm always tell people when I do tarot, I don't read reversals because I always tell you like it is. And there's always good and bad with everything. I'm a realist, right? I'm a I'm black and white. I'm light and dark, which is very, very interesting on my whole, like, I like to see both sides of things because my name literally, Darcy means dark, and my middle name, Elaine, means light. I'm literally like a dark light. I'm like, no wonder I can't make up my fucking mind about anything. But so on the flip side, something for us. So it's all good, right? So we're talking about good things to do, right? So these are things what we talked about, like self care and focusing on teamwork, because like teamwork makes the dream work. One of my friends, Shar, she always says that. I love her to death. So you're focusing on that teamwork, but on the opposite side of it, there can be a little bit of a chance where it can make a bad situation worse. So, if you're going into a situation and there's already some things that are brewing there because Mars, and I'm talking relationship wise, because Mars has that explosive kind of attitude about it. You might have some passive aggressive things that pop up, or if there's some partnerships that are out of balance, they may go way out of balance. Would that be a good way to like
Yeah.
interpret that?
Yeah, because then
Okay.
there's some work to be done to get it to find that balance, to get it back in balance.
Right. Yeah, because it always swings both ways. So it's like if things are going well for you, it's like, okay, well, I know I can focus on the next 2 months, this harmony and this balance and really incorporating this, taking a breather because Mars goes into Scorpio next. So just keep that in mind that that's where we head next. But if things are, if through everything that's been going on over the last 2 months for you with Mars there, now that it's in Libra, if things are a little bit rough, if they're already on that track in those areas, it may very likely, exacerbate, just escalate and get a little bit worse. So you want to watch out for passive aggressiveness in your relationships and try to bring balance into that, right? So
Right,
if you feel like you are pissed off or you're not being treated fairly, well, the only thing you can do about that is, control what you can do about it, right? You can't control how the other people are treating you, but you can control how you react to it and if you accept or if you even choose to accept it or not. So that part you can use that Libra Mars kind of to take a situation and turn it into like a self-love kind of thing, I almost think.
that's a good point
Yeah.
because a lot of people don't think about that. A lot of people just only focus on the good things. I don't like to really say good or bad, but like every sign has, I
Well,
don't even
yeah,
know,
I guess what would,
positive and negative.
yeah,
I
positive
can't
and
remember what
negative isn't I guess it would be favorable and unfavorable or, yeah, they do. There's good and, there's good and bad to them all, right? And it's,
right.
and
For
it,
a
you
lack of
just,
a better word, we'll stick with good and bad, but I don't like because it's not really bad.
no, it's
It's
not bad.
it's more of like,
You know what? Okay, so we're stuck on this. So we'll do a test and see who's listening still. If somebody can help us to come up with some words on how to, because no, you're right. It's not good and bad because we don't want anybody to think that there's a bad part about anything in your sign, right? Because that's
no,
just who
because
you are.
even like I'll use Virgo just because we're both Virgo,
No,
and I
do it,
can
girl.
easily, we can be nitpicky. We can get
Yes.
to the point because we can see how things can be done, should be done. Like we can see it, the best way to do something.
And we think it's,
And we can get very nitpicky when
yep,
people aren't doing it because we can already see the problems in the way that they want to do it. And the way we communicate sometimes can come off that, we're being mean, because we want it done our way. But it's because it's the right way. No, I'm just kidding. But so like but it's learning to be able to see that and then know, okay, like I know I can be nitpicky. So when I'm talking to Steve or my boys, I try to really watch how I say something or, the words I really am very particular on the words that I use now because I don't want it to come off as though I'm being mean or negative towards them.
right.
So it's just learning to embrace that side and then make the corrections so that you don't come off that way.
Right. Because that's like the only thing you can control. And it's funny that you say that because I actually have a chat GPT project going that is calls it's from drama queen to dynamic delivery. And what I've prompted it to do is basically I am the type that will and I work in compliance. So I know I have to follow the freaking rules and I have to make sure there's a whole company of all these other people follow the rules too. So sometimes I can be a little bit of a drama queen. Like some people might, be like, hey, I think this is a problem. I'm more like streaking through the quad, pulling a fire alarm, like, what the hell's everybody, So, as part of my Uranus into Gemini, working on my communications and how I approach those, I have created this Chat GPT prompt to help me go from being a drama queen to a dynamic deliverer of information. And so I go in and it knows it's like, okay, let's tone this down, Darcy. I'm like, it just knows. I don't even have to tell it, help me rewrite this email. I just literally, because I literally want to slap people across the face with a fish, and I have to go back and go, hey, so I have a whole list. They laugh at me at work, but I have a whole list of things like, that's a very intriguing idea. Could you help me understand how that aligns with our compliance initiatives? Or I really like what you're throwing out here. Can you help me understand how we arrived at that conclusion just so I can take it all in? I have a front and a back notebook of all these ways to talk to people to be a little bit nicer. Like, are we sure? Are we chasing a fire here or is this just smoke?
That is
So it's all like, I'm really trying now. The one lady, Becky, that works with me, she knows because it's in the front of my notebook. So we'll be in a meeting or on a call and you'll see me. I'll
and
be
you
like,
flip.
that is such an interesting idea, Joe. And she knows what I'm, because I've got them all written out there. Like so I really do. And I have to do that. So you are correct. So as a Virgo, and that's where, so we talk about the good and the bad, right? Where perfectionism is a downfall for us sometimes. It can become a self sabotage, not only because we can tend to come across a little bit critical or analytical. Well, we don't mean to be, we fucking know what's right. I mean, we
No,
know,
it's hard, but it's like
know
we
then.
already see it.
Yeah.
We
The
know.
hard part is when we have to realize that we have to let other people realize what's right for them. And even though it's not what we would consider to be perfect, it could very well be perfect for them. And that's a hard part, is learning to hold that silver tongue back.
It's perfect for them. I did find where I've never liked the whole good and bad thing, but I did find where I had wrote a note about it. Conscious and unconscious. So instead of good and bad, conscious and unconscious, or evolved and unevolved.
Or like, so when we talk about, because that one, I'll be honest, as I was getting started in all of this, when people talk about conscious and unconscious and subconscious, so it's almost like voluntary and involuntary, right? So like I can blink, my heart beats involuntarily, if I say it. Is that right? Yeah, it beats involuntarily, meaning it just does it. Am I saying that right?
Involuntary is when you don't control.
Okay, so
Involuntary
you
would be
just,
like
so
your
it's
heart
just like,
beating because you have no, you just automatically do it. So
okay,
conscious
so
and
that,
unconscious, at least the way I was thinking of it, maybe I didn't choose the right words, but conscious is more like those
deciding it.
are like things that, yeah, I guess it would be involuntary. Those are just things you just do. And then the unconscious is, could be something you still need to work on. Like maybe you're not aware of, so that, you need to do some work to make it so that those don't affect you as bad. Kind of like we were talking about the nitpicky. I've worked on that and have gotten better because I mean, it used to really like stress me out if you weren't doing. Steve would be like, "Well, he would do something like do the dishes or something, but I didn't like the way he did it. So then it was like, why do I do it at all? Because
Got it.
you're just going to tell me I did it wrong." So I've learned to not do that with people because, like you said, it's not perfect for me, but that's perfect for them. And I have to respect that, especially if somebody's helping you out. You can't ask for
Yeah.
help and then tell people they did it wrong.
Well, or even like I struggled as a parent. I really did. I look back now and I think, man, I was fucking a hard ass. I really was in a lot of things and it was, if I would have just realized that my way wasn't always the right way, and to let them, I didn't have to, I wasn't controlling or abusive, but I mean, I was definitely like, no, this is just the way it is, and we just
Right.
did it. And I wish I would have approached it with a little more of that my way. It just doesn't mean it's right for everybody, right? And but I was in a different spot then. I didn't realize that this was all, a thing. Otherwise I would have been like, Darcy, you're being a Virgo, calm down. So but yeah, you're very, very right about that. It can We can be very, very interesting. I don't remember why we started talking about our Virgo-ness. Why did we start talking about
Because we were talking about
passive aggressive?
Mars and going into Libra today, and then how just talking about like the different, like what that means of
Yeah,
being
well, it was in
Mars
Virgo.
and then Libra, because you get the Mars, got the passion, and then Libra is about balance. So bringing
And just
balance.
to throw an element of self-care in there too, because I'm all about, we're all doing goals. And now that we're diving further into all this different astrology, I've always focused on like the moon, more along the lines, because that's where your emotions are at. And it's also just, it happens the same way every month, full moon, new moon. It's a very easy way to kind of keep track of life and not get too overwhelmed. But when you start playing with these other planets, using Mars as an example, and that explosive piece of it while it was in Virgo, some people might have really kicked off some amazing like health goals or
Yeah,
Virgos love clean eating or alternative health things, even like alternative health. It could also be alternative things like you know meditation or acupuncture or Reiki. There's a lot of things that cross over there. But so where that plays out is, if you've really found over the last 2 months that you've been drawn to kind of kicking some of those things off, this Mars moving into Libra really helps to intensify that and really helps to those people that are on that spiritual path to kind of embrace more of the self care side of all of that. That's
right.
really exciting.
Yeah, that is very, very good point.
Yeah, so really kind of depends if everybody's learning along with us that right there's three different scenarios depending on where your Mars where your what your Mars and Virgo was like, right? That might give you an idea of what to expect as Mars moves into Libra. And it's different for everybody. It's really easy to get online and look at Vogue or Cafe Astrology on, what this means for every sign, but hopefully our listeners are getting wise to the fact that number one, when you look at sign stuff, you always look at based on your rising sign. So like for me, when I look at something like that, I'm not looking necessarily at a Virgo. I'm more looking at a Sagittarius rising. Please. Hey, well, I guess that's probably a good point then to wrap up. We've been jibber jabbering for a minute, but I did definitely want to talk about, I'm glad we covered that Mercury. We talked about what retrograde is and the fact that now we're moving forward. So moving forward and getting stuff done, and then Mars into Libra and what that means, and then what to look out for, and hopefully give everybody some ideas on. Oh, and here comes Cosmo. There he is. Hey, big guy.
I do have one more thing,
Yeah,
just
well,
and we
yeah,
can do it quickly. Chiron. We had talking about Chiron.
yeah. Candace Bergton in I call her Katie. Cadence. I said Candace. Kate. I call her Katie. In our Facebook group, she posted something about it, and I thought, well, nobody really mentioned that, and I kind of commented that I don't really know that much about it, and she said she didn't know much about it, and I thought, well, I would ask Tracy about it.
So Chiron is considered, I don't know if it's considered an asteroid or it's not a planet.
I've heard asteroid, or there's another thing that's out that's
I can't think of what it can't get you.
he's right there. No, it's okay. His toy's back here. I just wasn't expecting it. Yeah, I've heard it's an asteroid. Yeah, I think it's an asteroid. I'm gonna look it up while you're talking. You keep talking. I'll fact check while you
Okay.
talk.
And it's called the wounded healer. Usually, like in astrology, when you look up your placement of Chiron, it's something that you need to heal from. What I think is interesting, and if I pulled your birth chart, I probably asked you about this, but supposedly, if you look at the degree of your Chiron and your birth chart, you can usually, I have found out, I haven't come across one that didn't work out yet, but it's something that happened to you at that age. Doesn't necessarily mean a bad thing, but it's something that caused you to have to heal or go through a process of healing. Like mine's 19. And so I can remember some things that happened to me at 19 that caused me to go through that's probably like one of the start of my journey as far as like going on trying to heal things within myself. So I'd be interested if people wanted to comment in our Facebook group if they look up their Chiron, if it matches something that they have to heal from.
I like that, that makes sense. What I can do too is I'll post a little glyph thing, but that makes sense because my Chiron, if it kind of that makes you have to kind of grow so that you can heal. My Chiron is at 20 degrees of Aries. And I had my daughter at 20 degree when I was 20, 21, just after 21. And I always said that she saved me, right? Becoming a mom saved me because I was, whoo, it was an interesting lifestyle for El Darcy. So,
Well, you're young.
yeah, so becoming a mom saved me. So that would very much ring true, Tracy. That would be interesting to see. So do you need are you looking for house and degree, or are you just
It's
looking?
just the degree. Now, the house can tell you, like, mine's also in Aries. So, Aries, and mine's in the fifth house. So that's, creative, can be childhood, could be, I mean, it can help you figure out what area by the house or the zodiac sign, but it's the degree is what tells you the age.
That's interesting. I would really like to hear that because if that's the case, that kind of rings true because there's only 29 degrees in each house. So that would mean that by the time you hit the age of 30, you have experienced that event, right? Which would make sense, like with Saturn returns, where you have to start adulting and everything, and
Right,
then you get to move on to that
right.
second one. Very interesting. All right. Well, I hope oh my gosh, sorry, I'm being attacked here. There's a string and he's trying
That's
to
my
get it.
toy.
Well, yes, and he's frustrated with me. But yeah, I hope some people actually will comment and let us know what their Chiron is. It is a little I know if I'm doing a chart for somebody, I am including Chiron on everybody's chart. So if you pull it up, the little glyph, I believe it looks like a karate K kicking guy. There's like a little K, right? It's the little K karate kick with a little O at the bottom. So it's like a little karate kick with an O. But and you can look that up online. But yeah, let us know what Chiron, because I really don't know that much about it. So very, very interesting to hear what everybody says.
It's one of the first thing I look at when I look at somebody's chart. I have to know, just especially if I already know you and kind of like know your life or something. I'm like, yep, that fits. It
Really?
fascinates me to see how it really does work out. And the people that have been like, oh, I don't know, once we start talking about it, they usually are like, oh, okay, it was this. Like they can,
Yeah.
like, because it's not necessarily something that was traumatic.
Right.
It's just something that caused you to grow, like good or bad. Like it could have been something traumatic that happened to you, but it could also been like you said, it was just you had a baby, and so that completely changed your life. So
Sorry, my boopers.
it caused you to grow.
All of a sudden, I got a really bad pain in my boob. Sorry. I don't know why, but
You're talking about having children, and you're having boob pains. Maybe you.
my God, my nipple hurts so much. Oh my God. What in the world? It's the most insane thing ever. My boob. Oh my God, all of a sudden it just hurts. That's so not right. Oh my, I don't know why my nipple is like on fire.
Now that's a good place to wrap up.
Yeah, I think I might have to.
All right.
I'm
Well, we
so
are.
sorry, Tracy. I'm so sorry. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we're gonna have to wrap up here. Yep, I'm gonna have to go.
We will see you guys next time.
Yes, thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day, guys. Bye. Oh my God, why does my boob